And so I go to Newport with my family. My daughter is a baby, basically. She's a baby, and I didn't know there was a line to see Keiko. It's like because he was going to get freed. So all these people who donated their nickels, oh, man, my mama sent our nickels out there to get Free Willy, and there was like I didn't know what was going on. I was just over the coast. And I'm in a line of people, and in front of me there's a family of people, and this is a conversation. I remember I used it as a bit for a while. I was like, but this, and nobody liked it either because I was being sarcastic to the wrong people. But it was this family, and this kid is real stupid, but he was inquisitive, and he was like, and then there was two generations, mama and grandma, and he's like, mama's gonna be a big fish, and yeah, it's a big fish. And then grandma mutters, I think it's a mammal. and and it's this the line's not moving, and I'm stuck behind these people, and I'm trying to put a good spin on it, but I'm like, God damn, I don't want to go to Moe's after this, that's for sure. These dumb motherfuckers, and it's just, I didn't have earbuds or no escape from it, so it's just like, and then I heard grandma, and she goes, yeah, it's a mammal I saw on the Discovering Channel. And she's grandma is barely able to move. She's basically a land whale in line to see a homeless whale get kicked out of his only stable housing.
Sitting here watching the
What was the celebration?
Well, it started out as Saturday, and my neighbor's birthday was yesterday, it turns out. So we got really drunk and drank for about 16 hours. Did a bunch of terrible drugs.
Really?
It kept us awake. Yeah.
You made it.
Yeah. Shaylee, I'm loving the hair.
It's got, I'm still getting the background.
What the fuck is going on there?
It's picking up the back. If I had a black backdrop, but I'm not gonna put that much effort into it.
It's fucking fabulous, dude.
It looks like pink frosted tips.
It looked like the president. It just keeps moving in unnatural ways. You're like, is that real?
Oh yeah, I see that. Yeah. That's a new app I got.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like online. Shit.
Little Max Headroomy.
Yeah.
Definitely belongs on a male figure skater.
I need more sequins.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe a little Pomeranian.
Right. Well, it could be a summer show where you're just doing an Elvis
Oh
thing.
Yeah. That's true too. Yeah.
I've been to those. They're not all competitions.
Andy, you're in the shade there.
Yeah. Well,
you got to Gomer pile your hat so we can see your face.
We start at exactly when the sun hits the tree here, so it's I know it's time for the podcast when it.
That's your watch.
And he uses Boy Scout watch to tell when it's we're gonna podcast.
Well, I might switch to the Boy Scout hat too, which is handy that I happen to have it right here. So you guys must have just did the basic household items, right? You couldn't have got drugs from out of a quarantine area, or did you quarantine while holding?
There are ways.
It depends on how much you trust your drug dealers. Really, what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Well, there are some people who are still working. Yeah.
Well, I think the drug dealers are pandemic proof. We were talking about this before, weren't we, Chad? It's like, there's no dip.
Well, I don't know, because if they say don't touch your face,
Yeah.
Should you really be snorting stuff up your nose? I'm not sure exactly. It's a gray area there.
Yeah.
But that has nothing to do with supply and demand.
Yeah.
No.
I think the drug dealers are going, that's awesome.
Yeah.
We'll do home delivery.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
As soon as that stimulus check hits, baby.
Yeah, I found out you gotta submit your 1999 or 2019 tax return before that happens, right?
Well, 2018 or 2019, but there's also a website where you can put information in, I was told. But I got an email from the VA saying that, because a lot of people who are on VA disability don't file taxes. So they were like, if you're on VA disability, you'll just automatically get one. So I'm waiting.
Nice.
How do I get on that VA disability?
You gotta do a little time in the service. Is what I had to do.
Man,
Yeah, I'll forego the 1,200.
Yeah.
there's always a catch.
I'm still waiting for it to pay off.
Yeah, I lost Andy.
I
Did we
lost
lose
Andy as well.
Maybe the sun went behind the tree and he got confused.
His
Thought the
solar
podcast
panel.
was over.
His solar panel went dark.
Might have had the same. Might have had a podcast outside. His computer might have overheated.
Yeah, that could have happened too.
Yeah, Doug was saying, "Hey, we should podcast up on the top of the fun house." And I go, "Oh yeah, I'll get the that canopy we had when we did the farmers market." And he's like, "No, just in the sun." And I go, I know you want to be like in a lounger and we'll have like Mai Tais and everything, but we have to have some shade to do a video podcast in the direct sunlight of the Arizona sun. It's in the mid 80s today, or it was yesterday. I don't know what it's gonna be today, but it's gonna be warm. It's really nice. We're not gonna fry all the equipment because you wanna lay back and drink a Mai Tai.
Yeah, I was just finishing setting up my cooler. It's not an air conditioner, evaporative cooler. I was just getting the water all turned on to it right now before we started because this house is hot as a motherfucker.
It's
today.
hot as fuck in LA. We were in
It's gonna
the
be
90s
a good
last couple
summer, I
days.
can tell you that.
Oh,
Oh
Yeah.
shit!
This
Oregon's pretty well climate controlled here. You guys live in a desert. What were you expecting? You live in a desert.
I mean, I'm not complaining. I wasn't complaining. I like the
No.
heat. And we're at 5,000 feet, so it's a little bit different than being in like Scottsdale or something.
yeah.
Scottsdale's great. Plug out, shout out to Scottsdale.
Oh, goddamn.
I didn't know if I was going to be able to get up this morning either, Erickson, because I was up for your text message. I ate mushrooms last night on the Twitch stream.
Uh-oh.
I was waiting for it to kick in. I come inside and I watched heavy metal, waiting for my mushrooms to kick in, and I fell the fuck asleep.
Oh,
I think I got bunk mushrooms, and
or excellent sleeping pills.
well, it was only about 8:30, and I passed out on the couch, and I woke up, and it was about 11, or about 10 o'clock, I guess, and I couldn't go back to sleep the whole fucking night, but I had no mushroom high. I was like, this just fucked me all up, man.
You just described every night of my life.
Yeah, I couldn't believe you texted back when I texted. It was like,
it was 4:17. And then you said, and then you argued the point that it was 2 minutes to 4:20, and
I thought that was
actually
funny.
at 4:18. And
I didn't
did
get
the
it.
math on it. Yeah.
Well, you
didn't.
You did 4/20, like it was the date.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I'm like,
And I was like,
I'm just getting this?
I'm not.
Stoners understand.
Like, it's not. Wait, what? And I woke up this morning and looked at it. I'm like, oh, it's 4:18. Yeah. But I could throw up at any second. So.
Oh yeah. So what are you having for breakfast, do you think? Oh, but
I'm Bloody Mary. I worked up I made a smoothie, so I pounded that down. So we'll see if that holds. Yeah, it's rough, but I had to get something in there.
So we talked about birds last week, and you see that footage, that fucking vulture?
No.
I was driving out my driveway early in the morning, and it looks like it's a turkey up there. There's turkeys there all the time, but it was like, yeah, wild turkeys,
not turkey vultures.
Well, this was a turkey vulture.
Okay.
This looked just like a turkey, except his ass was different. And I got close, and I was like, all right, hey man, and I was like, hey, it's like I can tell it's a buzzard, and I was like, hey man, should you be doing this? And it's like there's nothing,
reasoning with the bird.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't even know what it was doing, but I don't, and so I learned a couple of things, possibly that you can that a buzzard will eat a family of snakes in one helping, and we have snake dens. That's what this thing was apparently. It had its face in the grass, and then it pulled up, and it looked like it was eating spaghetti, and, it was yarding back, and it looked like more than one snake. I was like, how do you get them to cooperate under these circumstances? Seems like it seems like that's the last thing a snake would do is like, yeah, fuck it, let's die as a group. Let's spray ourselves.
Get in my belly.
Yeah. So, and then it just can't, it stayed right there. So it's like, I don't know if that's a good sign for the neighborhood that buzzard, you can't scare a buzzard off either. I was like, hey, fuckhead. And, oh, fuck you, nothing. It just stayed there and gulped that fucking snake family down.
And did you say thank you?
I'm sure if you run directly at it yelling, you'll scare it off. If you're just like, hey, fuckhead, what are you doing? They don't understand that, Andy. They're not going to be like, hey, sorry, sir. It's an animal.
There's no way I'm running at a giant bird with a mouthful of snakes. I'm not running at that.
That's like a gun that shoots knives.
If you really want to scare it away, I mean...
I was driving.
I don't know why you would just leave it the fuck alone.
Yeah, he's helping. He's helping you. Well, you should say thank you.
When I said, should you be doing that, I was almost thinking to myself, I was like, this isn't what should be going on, man. This isn't how I've seen wild turkeys, but this was some wild shit. And I was like, this can't be right. And then I realized it was turkey and turkey buzzards, they probably got that way by fucking each other, right? Let's be honest.
Wait. You think a turkey vulture is an evolved turkey?
No,
is that what you think?
It's like a liger.
I think a buzzard fucked a turkey. I think it may have thought it was dead. It probably thought it was dead, and then it was surprised when
it fucked it to see.
Yeah. There's only one true test. Only one true test.
If this doesn't wake him up, nothing will.
And 8 months later, the stork brought a turkey buzzard.
Then the buzzard fucked the stork.
And that's a flamingo. I got one of those over here. Yeah, there were only like 4 animals.
They're all hybrids of 4.
God made Noah he made he made Noah too. But he made Adam and Eve, and he made like 4 animals, and everything else has been rape ever since. Rape and incest on down the line till we got all these monkeys and squirrels and varieties of squirrels and different kinds of buzzards, apparently. I thought buzzards spook off unless you're like dying, It's like, hey man, I'm moving,
Go away.
Excuse me, I'm driving, dude.
Andy, do you happen to recall if what the head of the turkey buzzard looked like?
I got footage. I got up close footage because I kept thinking it would run off, and then I don't know how I lost it in frame, but it seems so it seems so apocalyptic that I kind of lost my nerve for what I was seeing.
You weren't nature jacking at the same time.
I was gonna say
no. This was repulsive. This would be like having.
This one's gross.
Yeah,
that's what eventually you start jacking off to more gross and gross stuff. Today it's a waterfall. Tomorrow it's a turkey vulture eating snakes.
Yeah.
I don't even want to see this shit. It's like, it's like eating mushrooms and then animals reveal their ugly selves to me. Like, God damn it, man. I don't want to see this shit, I thought vultures, I guess what I learned about vultures was from Looney Tunes, but I thought all they ate was dead shit.
Carrion. They eat dead things. Yeah. Andy, what color was the head? Was it
red?
Okay, so that's a turkey vulture. Because if it's got a black skinned head, it's a Mexican vulture.
Well, that's why it didn't take off when I said, "Hey, turkey," and then I says, "Hey, turkey, what are you doing?" And then I saw it was a vulture, and I was like, "They creep me out," because you try to take a nap out here, and they're circling overhead. Like, God damn it, man! I don't want some lighthouse situation where they come down and start pecking at me, and then I'm like, "Fuck it, I guess this is it then."
I think if you can make a couple of roosts in your suicide area, it would really tie it together. If you had some buzzards just hanging out over your noose.
I wonder
on brand.
Yeah.
It seems like there's not really a good angle from above to see the rope, but maybe they just heard from other animals that, hey, there is a hanging rope, you might want to.
Squirrels are talking.
Yeah. Hey, this ain't a hot area, but when it pays off,
it's gonna hit. Yeah. Just run by every once in a while. Yeah.
I wonder if you sliced. Well, I mean, to do it right, you could bleed yourself out. Hang and bleed out like a cow, and then it would be like perfect for a vulture or squirrels or whatever. Certain, like in the summer, you can slow cook in the tree. Turn yourself. Hey, I've always been a jerk.
Vertical rotisserie, like those gyros.
I've been a jerk.
Plot suicide.
I've been accused of being a jerk. This would just be, I would be turning into jerky eventually. By the end, if I did it in July, by August, I would be jerky.
We have our first pun of the show.
Yeah, there we go.
Right.
I don't know if it's Andy's connection or my connection, or if Andy ate all of his edibles for breakfast, but Andy sounds super slow when he talks.
Really?
Yeah, it's coming through. It's funny. I like it. But.
Well, it might be. I should read. If I didn't have my reading glasses on those gummies, so I could have said, "Indica, please don't take while vodcasting."
So you did gummy it up. I'm not all the way wrong. I mean, there's something going on.
Objects may appear audibly different than. Anyway, see, I'm trying to work that into a pun, and it just fell apart.
Yeah.
Damn,
good.
God, good.
Good.
I don't advocate it. It just happened.
Something happened.
Accidental puns.
But slow cooking in a tree. Shit.
Yeah.
What are you drinking, Andy?
I'm drinking these beers I get on my bark dust runs. It's a local brewery, and the guy said, "Fuck it, they can't serve. They don't have their thing open." So he put out a tent and says beer and snacks. So it's like, once you're weird,
Andy's connection.
And I double back around, and then the beers are reasonable, and there's always a deal. It's a dead-eyed Mexican guy and good deals on beer.
That's a way better explanation than what I was expecting, because I thought somebody just left their garage door open and has a beer fridge on your way to steal bark dust.
Run.
No, I don't steal bark. That was from the garden spot. I misappropriate bark dust now. I pay for a certain amount of it. I just might stretch the bag a little.
Wait, you pay for one bag and you load 3?
I might say I'm like, say for instance, I'm doing 15 gallons, and they see me all the time, and I'm like 15, 20 gallons. But I'm usually averaging about 70 gallons. You ain't gonna get shit. You ain't gonna get shit done 15 gallons at a time when it comes to landscaping. So I'm going like 70 gallons, and it's a lot of work, And then the last time the guy goes, "Man, you're a regular here. You ain't got to pay this time." Like,
I loaded 200 gallons.
No, it's really just more symbolic anyway.
What, pain?
Well, yeah, the $8 surcharge on all that bark and dirt, and I go for the good stuff. I don't want to get like fucking, there's utility bark and then there's hemlock. And I like the hemlock.
All right.
You don't get slivers. You can steal it. You can steal it without getting slivers. My mom taught me, like, Larry stole some shit that was very heavy and we were like heavy stuff, and then we had a garage sale, and I was like fucking making progress, like like hoarders, like fuck it, Larry don't live here no more, this shit's got to go. And Larry come around there, and he was like fucking disappointed at my pricing strategy.
Wait, you were charging too little for his items?
Yeah, and then
did he come to buy them back?
Well, I kept my eye on him. Like, what are you doing?
Followed him around the store.
He's like O.J. Simpson stealing his Heisman back.
Well, he didn't have a posse though. Not only did OJ want to steal his artifacts back, he also got like 8 or 9 other concerned citizens
it's only
who wanted
fair.
to see OJ get his shit back too. But Larry was on his own, and he went and complained to my mom and about like.
Damn it.
Uh-huh.
Everyone else is crystal clear. Just I mean, from my end, everyone's sound and audio and video is good. So
well, everyone out there can do the choose your own adventure Andy Andrus story game where you get to be
Dragon's
Larry.
Lair. Dragon's Lair.
Yeah. Will Larry steal his jar of marbles? Yes, he will. God damn it. He may have to set up somewhere else.
I was wondering how far he is from his Wi-Fi.
I wonder
maybe
if
we
he
need
even
to get him
thinks about that.
Maybe we need to get him a 300-foot Ethernet cable.
Yeah. Oh fuck.
Yeah, he's probably at the very edge of his Wi-Fi capability.
Uh-huh.
I just hope he's not still telling the story. I hope he's trying to log back in instead of finishing. He's still going.
Isn't that the worst when you're talking to someone and then you realize they've been gone for a while on the phone? Like, oh fuck, an asshole.
Doug, I was talking to Doug last night about video rendering, and I'm like looking across the bar at him, and I go, "Well, rendering's kind of like." And as I started to talk, I saw him like scoot out the door, and I'm like, he's trying to leave before I even get close to finishing. But so I just stopped talking. Just kept walking out the door. He didn't want to know.
Yeah. Fuck no, he doesn't want to know that.
Hey, he's back.
I'm back.
Hey, what, Shaylee, what are you guys going to do when the 30-day news blackout is over? Is there going to be some sort of news-a-palooza thing that he...
Yeah.
Because I was thinking you could do like a multiple choice, have him guess which events actually happened.
I think Joby had said the same thing to me, right? Like, one of these stories is not real. Or one of these,
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, because there's a couple
told
things.
people to drink bleach.
Right.
I mean, the last 4 days. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? It'd be like, we'll put money on it, But Doug and Shane were talking the other night, and they were like, Doug should do predictions, like what was happening 30 days ago, and then try and
figure it
extrapolate from that. Like, what do you think? What do you think happened since then? There's no way. I mean, I keep telling him, I go, dude, I got to tell you some of this. And Tracy's all, don't, no. I go, but it's like, I thought the president was dumb. And for me to think this guy is so dumb after 3 years of saying because you could always, he's just an idiot. It's like, you've transcended idiocy. And after 3.5 years, I'm still perplexed at how that that guy.
He does it again.
I'm convinced that he's getting saying progressively dumber things to see how far he can push
the envelope.
Yeah. Like, what people give a fuck?
He says, he's just like when he was on his fucking show. He's drug addled and he says weird shit, and then he's like thinking aloud, and then it's like then they come out and say it's sarcasm or whatever. But it's like simple to like the dumbest place I've ever been as a group of people. I was with Stanhope, and we went. It was right across from Cincinnati, where you go into Kentucky, just basically right there, like that corner. And we stopped at a bar that had NASCAR decorations. And listening to fucking meatheads, people just fucking dullards trying to have a conversation, even about football. Like it was so fucking slow and brain damaged back and forth. And it was like, it wasn't retarded. It was slower than that. You could actually see the thoughts come from one head, go in, and then they'd slowly come out and then soak into the other head. And it was like, holy shit. It was like that. And that's the kind of thinking that like, like if you got to clean everything with Lysol, why don't you just clean yourself with it? And then, like, why don't they just put the whole airplane in the black box,
At this point, I'm convinced politics has basically become sports. And once you pick a sports team, you don't care. Like, that was a foul. And the other guy, that wasn't a foul. And you know that your guy fucking fouled him, but you still just go for your fucking team because that's your team. I think that's what's happening.
Yeah,
it's only going to make sense.
Supporting Trump right now is like being a Detroit Piston fan and watching Bill Laimbeer and Dennis Rodman gang rape somebody and go, I'm still a fan. I'm still a fan.
Back-to-back champions.
I got to hear their side of it because she's a liar.
Fucking crazy. When I couldn't sleep this morning, it was on Twitter that it was the First Lady's birthday. So I spent a significant amount of time laying there looking at the president's wife's tits this morning after I was like, let me check out some pictures of this chick. And it was, I realized it's very surreal. Everything just right now there's no more normal. There's no more. Stanhope should come up with like an Onion style bombastic, outrageous news of his own every day. Come on, here's what I think, and compare it and see how off the mark it is.
He might hit a couple.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this about the First Lady's lesbian porn. It is the least it's very passive for lesbian porn, and I expect more from a First Lady, a little bit, Like get your tongue up in there. Well, sure, Jackie Onassis with her tongue in an asshole, I would expect, Let's go, You don't bounce from a president to a billionaire just like that, You gotta do some dirty.
I saw a few pictures. If that's lesbian porn, she definitely half-assed it. They're basically spooning is all I saw.
Mm-hmm. How about somebody fisting William Howard Taft's fat broad, huh? I don't know if that guy was even married. Did he have?
I'm expecting a Millard Fillmore pun to come at some point.
Hey, bringing up William Howard Taft is not a pun. He was a fat president and he also was a Supreme Court justice after he was president. So he learned how to fix the whole fucking game. And he invented the peanut butter parfait and the drive-through window.
Well, that's not true at all. You had me going at peanut butter parfait, Andy. I was about to fucking praise that man for his fucking.
Yeah, I wonder why he's not on the $5 bill. If he invented a tasty treat.
I can just picture him in his black robes, like hearing a case of the Supreme Court, and they like go to him for an opinion, and he's got like a cup with a spoon, and he's like. What?
Upside down. He'll do upside down.
This is good.
And he invented the fucking 16-inch long spoon so you can eat that stupid dessert.
With a straw through it.
Oh, you had me with the peanut butter parfait, Andy. But I'll tell you what, I know where the first drive-through was invented because it's right here where I live.
Really?
That's a true story.
Where? Bisbee?
Yeah, no, in Sierra Vista.
Wow.
The Fort is a lane, but the Fort Huachuca Army base is right there. And back whenever it was, this was invented, like the 50s or fucking 60s. The soldiers weren't allowed to get out of their vehicles and be around town in uniform. And McDonald's, fucking being the capitalists that they are, fucking opened up a drive-through window so that the soldiers could come through and buy their food.
Huh. They didn't care for fascism either, huh?
Sure, yeah.
Still there on Fry Boulevard and still touting it too. It's on their marquee, yeah.
That's where I learned it.
I get all my history from marquees of fast food places. That's where I learned
well, actually, you know what? I got one from this. Is
Andy, up. There you go.
You know who owns Dairy Queen?
Mr. Queen?
Dairy?
Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is, at least according to this, in 1998, Warren Buffett bought Dairy Queen because he liked the peanut butter parfait, which was invented by William Howard Taft, who was like, man, making all these bullshit laws leaves me hungry. How do I get peanuts in my ice cream and make it feasible?
I like edible history with Andy.
Yeah,
it's
edible.
Good. It's fun.
That's when Douglas Fudge came onto the scene. Hey, man.
Douglas Fudge.
Actually, it might sound like he invented fudge, but he invented the jawbreaker. It's really weird.
Well, he was a fudge packer, so he did break a jar too.
Fudge was just a nickname because he was gay.
He made up a lot of facts.
Everybody in history was gay. Come on.
Douglas Fudge. That's my new name when you go get a table somewhere. If we can go back out to eat once the pandemic's over. Do you have a name on the table? Douglas Fudge.
Douglas Fudge. Party of two.
That's Mr. Fudge to you, please.
The Dufresnes might be joining us in a minute.
Wait, Douglas Fudge, the jawbreaker king of Sierra Vista?
That's like a Ferris Bueller thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Abe Froman, the sausage king of Chicago.
Who's that?
God damn it. Ooh. Is that Mr. Squishles?
Yeah. Hey, Mishka, this is what.
Looking around for my cat. Where's my cat?
This is what happens when you take care of a cat. you can love them, but you can love them to death, and they die in a year or two. But this guy's like 14 or 15. Shit, he can drive.
He's a cutie.
I would go right outside and get my 20-year-old cat and show you fucking how horrible a 20-year-old cat looks. But I don't want to touch that fucking thing. Jesus Christ. He needs to hurry up and die.
He's I call him the George Clooney of cats because he's so good looking, but he does look like Clooney now. Look at he's starting to show the wear and tear.
Maybe we need a before picture on that.
Yeah, there's no way to tell.
Well, yeah, he was more handsome. Right, you know, everybody was more handsome a couple years ago. Except Stephen Buscemi, he gets more handsym as the days get longer.
Yeah, he's like a Benjamin Buttons of ugly.
Andy, I saw like a devil on your.
He's no Clint Howard.
What was your guys' high school fucking mascot in Coquille?
This was who I played for.
High Victims?
Well, this was the devil I wanted to play for, and right
Minions.
around then, that Deep Throat movie came out and was hitting local theaters, and people were saying it's because the devil's in our community, and number one, we're playing for the devil. This was the Angry Devil mascot, and then they turned him into the cute fucking Richie Rich looking devil.
I'm a little stinker type
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, little stinker.
Ain't I a stinker?
Yeah, and they won championships back in the day, like 77. They won in basketball. My brother John was a state champ in basketball, and they were fucking. And then we went from that devil to the fucking little stinker, and losing, and then meth hit the community, and we never really regained our footing.
I love that Andy started us out by saying, then they brought Deep Throat into the local theaters. I don't think like AMC was offering like a late night adult fucking Pussycat Theater type.
All the theaters in Coquille were carrying Deep Throat.
I was out there protesting in case of Rapture. This T-shirt will be empty. T-shirt. We don't need this filth in our community. You know, I like the R movies that I can slip into, you know, but I can't get into this Deep Throat, you know. But it came to Coquille, and the community went out and we protested it, and then they talked about how we were playing for the devil in our community, and it's like, you know, when they say that you shouldn't mock Indians. But this was like, you shouldn't play for Satan. It's like, why? We're winning, motherfuckers.
Yeah, the second biggest protest was when you guys started losing.
Yeah. Even Coach Clem's big swinging dick couldn't, you know, when you start losing, you know, that mojo is gone. And we started, I might, in the 80s, we took nothing but L's. we had more L's than Laverne. Hey man, is that a pun? I can't tell anymore.
No, it's just horrible.
Yeah. It met the bar on horribleness.
Yeah.
Right.
Different graph.
Hey, don't make me feel like a lone wolf here.
All puns are horrible, but not all horrible is a pun.
There you go. Oh, fuck.
Well, I'm just
drinking.
drunk
again.
I'm drinking in support of Brett. When I saw that at 4:30 this morning, I was like, "Oh fuck it, I'm gonna have some of that." You know, I had there's this like beers get taped, like, you know, my wife will open up beer.
Oh, hey, Eddie, take a breath.
I know. I don't know how to really get into this. It's very complicated.
Now start.
Okay, you know that painter's tape? My wife uses it for a lot of reasons. One is to say I bought the wrong thing at the store, and the receipt will be taped on what I bought.
It's the low tack. It's the low tack blue tape, so you don't pull up paint when you.
Another one is when I find one of my beers missing, and I'll find it like it's been open for maybe cooking or something. So when I saw Brett was drunk at 4:30 this morning, or 4:18, I decided to have a beer, but I didn't keep it going like that because we're in quarantine and it's irresponsible. I don't want to kill some old person because I'm having fun drinking. I know
I think technically you are an old person, so.
Oh, right. I know that's why this is, you know, this is. I don't know if this is my first fucking plague or whatever, but it feels like it. And then it's like, you know, I think I was a premature baby, so I was kind of like in a plague type situation. Like I was a vulnerable little force in a little bubble, and you know, and this is the second go round, and I don't feel any better off. I feel like an underweight baby with a
you know, climb back into your little incubation fucking chamber.
I got a fister's chance in this one.
I almost know what that means. I almost understand that.
I'm nowhere close. This is Sudoku that is way too hard. I'm like, I'm not even gonna. This is Sunday crossword.
It's a puncher's chance, but it's for porn, right?
Let's put it this way. I don't want my neighbors. I don't want to think the neighbors need to hear this, but you don't see a lot of amateur fisting porn. Okay, you know, it's not one of them hit and miss like, oh, you know.
Well, I think when someone puts their fist in you, you're a pro.
Well,
you know what I mean? You lose your amateur status.
Yeah. Immediately, you all of a sudden get a windbreaker. That's pro. Yeah, automatically.
You're on the podium. You're definitely on the podium.
There are no amateur fisties, but there are probably some ham-fisted fisters.
We're getting real close.
I know.
Oh man, Andy.
Meat hands. I don't know.
I don't know if your understanding was correct, Brett, but it sounded right.
Yeah.
I mean, he went a different direction, but it doesn't mean that you weren't right. Andy was trying to tell a story. I had him stop and take a breath, and then he came in with a fucking detail
story.
That was totally, that's not even close to turning that.
All right, let me get myself together and tell a completely different story. I think what happened is you try to help him, but you shook him like one of those fucking etch-a-sketch. Like an etch-a-sketch. So he was started, and then once he shook it, he just had to start a whole new picture.
Blank canvas.
It's okay. Those were just cherry blossoms. I was confused. There were a lot of cherry blossoms falling around me.
Oh shit!
I believe Andy's retreating.
I'm trying to get as high as that. That's all I want to do by the end of this podcast.
I've learned one thing. I've learned. I put the retreats out of reach. I'm learning a lot from that Michael Jordan.
Oh yeah, another episode tonight or two.
Yeah. I'm up on that. Yeah, that's a good one.
I haven't watched it yet.
Well, all you need to know is there was good flow in Peoria for one night.
At one time.
Yeah,
we got chopped
in basketball, but I would watch that. That dude was a fucking phenomenon. That seems pretty interesting.
Well, Chad, it's a good series because it talks about a lot of the shit going on with the office and the politics and stuff like that, without it being too sportsy.
Yeah.
It's all about.
I don't like basketball at all, but
it's all about them deciding when to break up the team, and this is it. We're not going to be able to win anymore, and all that.
And Dead-Eyed Krause, is that his name? Jerry Krause, the little.
Jerry Krause.
Yeah. He's like, and Pippen hated his.
Igor.
They all hated him so much.
But Pippen
but he put those teams
him
together, man.
Yeah, Pippen hated him, and they was like, that's where two ends. Where Pippen is just mocking him to his face. Like, that's got to be something. How tall is Pippen? Like 6'8"? Yeah. Leaning down on that little fucking.
That little troll dude. And he's like walking around the fucking in the locker room like, good game, hey man, yeah, saw you in the post. And Pippen just like belly bumps him and says something shitty to him.
I didn't know.
I love that. That was fucking awesome.
I didn't know that that they had language in it. And Pippen, I was just watching it, and then Pippen dropped the F-bomb, and I was played it a 3 times before. I was like, it's not that he just said it so subtly or whatever. I was like, what did he say? And then I was like, and then I see explicit language throughout, and then Jordan's dropping them. But it's fascinating. What's going on with Jordan's red eyes? Like booze? Jordan. Is it just booze? Like he's a fucking red-eyed drunk every interview?
Yeah, wet eye. Like,
yeah.
He's got to make up for lost time, right?
I guess, man. Yeah, he couldn't get some blow, right? Lenny Bias did all right with that. That's what I was thinking is why Jordan didn't do blow, though. And he didn't say it, but didn't Len Bias die of a heart attack after getting drafted right around 84? Yeah. So right, that would have been a huge wake up call to somebody going to the NBA to not party with the loser veterans of the Bulls.
Yeah. I think he was like came into the NBA maybe a year before that. Does that sound right?
Yeah. I'm surprised he didn't bring that up, but he was like, he saw what the veterans were doing and he went a different direction. But he should have said
he saw what a whole team of guys who couldn't put a win together were doing after the game, and he said, I don't want to be like that. And he went 180 degrees. And I think that was probably instilled upon him, probably from his upbringing and other shit. I don't know if the one guy dropping dead. It probably just reinforced what he was thinking already. But I mean, he was a monster on the court.
Yeah. Well, I'm convinced. I don't want to watch it anymore. So thanks, guys.
Andre the Giant, maybe.
You saw boring as fuck.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was I was a Blazer fan, so I wasn't. I was like, Jordan just ripped the heart out of the Blazers, and then I took my daughter to a bookstore when Clyde Drexler was doing a book signing, and this is like, you know, years after everything. But my daughter's little. She's, you know, it's like, I forget the year, but my daughter's like 5, 6 years old, and Clyde Drexler's at Borders, and then Clyde Drexler, I had him sign a cover of. It's Jordan and him on the cover. I still need Michael Jordan. And now that he's drunk, I'll probably be able to get a signature. But Clyde Drexler signed that, and he goes, and then I had him sign a Wheaties box too, that Clyde was on. And then because I had him sign 2 things, and I bought his book, which is the most boring fucking book ever written. He never did anything creepy or weird enough to be in a book. Although here's what he did: is he said, "You better keep an eye on that one. She's going to be beautiful." About my daughter. Well, it's like, wow, thanks, Clyde.
She's 5?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why you took her, right? Because you said that about the other time when you took her somewhere. I have a cute little kid trying to get up to the front of the line. Yeah.
That was to get free tickets.
She didn't give a fuck about seeing Clyde Drexler at 5 years old.
That was to get free tickets, not just to get a signature.
Clyde the Glide, Dad.
I felt like I made the right choice when I didn't stick around for the Fight Club guy was doing a reading there for Choke. Yeah, I was there, and I was like, I wanted to stick around, but my kid was, Pooley, the guy, change your name to something that, you know, this is Trump's America. We can't come up with second block of letters.
That's a crazy book too.
Yeah, Choke. Yeah.
5-year-old daughter doesn't need to hear him read excerpts from that book.
Well, here's the like, this was a great. I was thinking about, I don't know, I read something about Keiko the whale recently, and Keiko, if you remember, he was Free Willy. He was Willie in the Disney movies, and he lived in Oregon. Willie, he was mistreated whale. You guys know this story.
Yeah, the big floppy fin.
Yeah.
Hanging way over.
Right. So he came out he lived in Oregon. He was gigging out here, House Comic or whatever. And they built him a club like Branson, Missouri did for Yakov. So Keiko's got this big thing. But because of the movies and shit, white trash or Christians or whatever, it's the same, Anyway, a bunch of people became concerned that Keiko he was still in prison. I was like, this dude was in Mexico City doing, fucking donkey shows, So he's pretty happy to be out in Oregon, and they fucking let Keiko be the star ship, but they got all this pressure to free Keiko, who was basically a fucking scammer. I'm sorry, but the dude was a fucking grifter. And so I go to Newport with my family. My daughter is a baby, basically. She's a baby, and I didn't know there was a line to see Keiko. It's like, because he was going to get freed. So all these people who donated their nickels, man, my mama sent our nickels out there to get Free Willy, and there was like, I didn't know what was going on. I was just over the coast, and I'm in a line of people, and in front of me there's a family of people. And this is a conversation. I remember I used it as a bit for a while. I was like, and nobody liked it either because I was being sarcastic to the wrong people. But it was this family, and this kid is real stupid, but he was inquisitive, and he was like, and then there was 2 generations, Mama and Grandma, and he's like, Mama's gonna be a big fish, and like, yeah, it's a big fish. And then Grandma mutters, I think it's a mammal. and it's this fucking the line's not moving, and I'm stuck behind these people, and I'm trying to put a good spin on it, but I'm like, God damn, I don't want to go to Moe's after this, that's for sure. These dumb motherfuckers, and it's just, I didn't have earbuds or no escape from it, so it's just like, and then I heard Grandma, and she goes, "Yeah, it's a mammal I saw on the Discovering Channel." And she's Grandma is barely able to move. She's basically a land whale in line to see a homeless whale get kicked out of his only stable housing. Because of the fucking Disney movie. Like nobody stepped in for this thing. It was like, this guy ain't fucking. He's a fucking panhandler. He ain't gonna cut it. So anyway, we finally get into this fucking.
Wait, all right, go on. I'll ask you later.
No, okay. So we finally get into the
Q&A at the end.
We finally get into the holding tank where Keiko is supposedly supposed to be, but it's certainly not social distancing. It's the opposite. It's like a fucking, what do they call it when fucking punk rockers run down the like that.
Pit?
It's a mosh pit of white trash jammed up against a window all the way back to the rock wall and back. And it's like, holy fuck. And we just wedged into the back, and I know how to get what I need out of these things. Like, fuck it. I know how to body surf fatties, there's like always, so I shamed the fatties up against the glass, and but Keiko wasn't down there. It was like real disappointing, I was like, this guy's a Disney star.
Sometimes they need a cigarette after the performance,
right?
To calm down, and then they'll come up to the merch.
Keiko will be out after the show. Just allow Keiko some time to have a big bucket of fish and calm his ego after the show. So Keiko wasn't hitting his mark, and I wedged down, and my wife's all the way at the very back of the room, and it's a mass. It's like it's like being in a religious tent. People were screaming, and Keiko, and then holy shit, Keiko's tail drops, and it's like, holy fuck, and people were screaming. It was like, oh my, I mean, I bet I was in a Raider game where they handed out dish towels, and I got caught in that. It was like that. It was like, holy fuck, man. And I'm holding the baby, and I'm up front in a glass. It's like a real soccer stadium situation where the tail flops down, and then people push their bodies and their weights, their girth forward, and so I'm up against the glass, and then Keiko's right here, and then I'm holding my kid up.
Baby?
Yeah, right by Keiko, and then his as
an offering.
No, not as an offering. I'm just trying to. If I die, I was like, maybe she can crowd surf out of here. I'm getting crushed. I'm getting the softest body crushing ever. These fucking fat wedges of people, and they're like, fuck, I'm being marshmallowed against the glass, and then. But then it's like he doesn't drop. It's like there's no, Keiko's just like, he must be up above doing meet and greets with private, I'll do a couple of photos. Sure,
gold circle tickets, like the VIPs,
Yeah. So here's what I discovered, and Grandma was right about it on the Discovering Channel and everything. Keiko was a mammal, of course. He's a big fucking fish and a whale and a mammal, and all of that was true. But he opened his fucking hole opens up. And it was like Larry's chain that he stole. I couldn't sell at the garage sale. Uncoils in front of me, and I realized it's Keiko's dick. And the people who were chanting for Keiko didn't know how to react because they're like, they're expecting to see like, a Disney star, like, And then here's the, it's undeniably a huge whale cock floating, and I have my kid right in front of, right by the cock.
You're pushing it towards it.
It's one of those real disappointing moments. It's like I was yelling through a den of people who were like a gag or whatever. They wanted something totally different than this. It's a Disney star. You don't expect him to pull his dick out, but you should. It's a Disney star. Like Free Willy, yeah, he just did a show.
I gotta ask Chad and Brett, and maybe even Andy. When Andy said opened his hole up, didn't we just think that the blowhole or something. I mean, it wasn't. I mean that is
weird
the opposite
my mind
end.
had to. My mind pictured his dick coming out of his blowhole all of a sudden, and I had to etch a sketch it and go back to fucking Andy. Okay, it was his dick, not his blowhole.
And they say you learn something new every day. Well, the day I learned that turkey buzzards will kill a family of snakes like spaghetti and choke them down in front of you without being spooked off, I also learned that whales have dicks and they pop out of something. It uncoils like it was an anchor dropping, and it was like and dropped right in front of my kid's face. Like, you know, holy shit, this is, and I'm yelling to my wife, take a picture. And I think she didn't know. You know, she ruined my life by not taking that picture. You know? And so then, you know, then Keiko got freed. But I think a lot of people around there knew he was, you know, he was full, you know, that's not what you want. You know, he was a Me Too waiting to happen. You know, Kiko's jerking on, you know, he's putting his dick in front of infants, you know.
A sex scandal will usually bring down, you know, the line at the merch booth.
Yeah,
these guys.
I don't know, you know, Fred McMurphy. I can't think of an old Disney guy, but there had to be
Fred McMurray. Fred McMurray from
My Three Sons.
Flubber. I think he was Flubber as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My Three Sons. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't expect him to pull his wanker out in front of your infant. But what happened?
That's Flubber.
But what happened to Keiko is once he got freed, you know, he was like, I don't know what to do. You know, there's nobody to expose myself to. It's like being cut off from comedy or whatever. It's like, I can't jack off in front of anyone. And now it just fucking, but so Keiko ended up just fucking trying to grift free handouts from boats. And then he starved to death, I think, and then they blew him up. The end, you know. But good riddance, man. You know, nobody, you know, my kid wasn't asking for that, and if she would have, it would have been such a great picture. My kid was like, she was, her mouth was open, and Kiko's dick, and I was like trying to get it over there. And it's like, it's hilarious, you know. It's like,
your camera would be confiscated, and the Child Protective Services would be called, Andy.
No, it was all, you know, under the guise of Disney Entertainment. Oregon Aquarium, you know, we didn't get, you know, they didn't want to talk about what Keiko was doing up there, you know, but the guy came from Mexico City, so, you know, you're going to bring your work habits with you. He's in a half-drained tank jacking off in front of tourists. You know?
A half-drained tank.
Jacking
off in front of the tourist.
They probably had their VIP situations.
I've been to a Mexican zoo, and that happens. Yeah, that's not VIP treatment. That's just Gen Pop. That's what you see in the regular thing.
How much for me and the family to meet the donkey? Oh man.
Oh God damn it.
I love it. The beginning of this was Keiko was just like this orca in a donkey show. Like it's a traveling comic. Like this weekend, Keiko will be at Punchlines in Sacramento. Next week we got a Tuesday show in Truckee, California. They stay in one spot. It's so funny.
He's out on stage. They just keep bringing buckets of water out to dump on him.
Here's what I wonder is they ended up blowing up Keiko, but what did they do with that big dick? You know, did they get, you know, I think it's still out there, like Hitler. Keiko's dick and Hitler are hanging out in Panama, sitting on a beach, you know, 6 feet apart. Socially distancing themselves.
Both of them complaining about the Jews.
Yeah. A bunch of zinc oxide, a big sun hat.
Well, Keiko was like supported like Bernie was like, $3 a donation or whatever. Bernie's the tout. It's like, that's what it was. It was like stories, and then like people would send their change jars. It's like, hey, stupid, convert it to paper. It's costing you way more in postage than you need to.
But people were sending Keiko jars of pennies and shit like that.
Yeah. Yard work going on behind me.
Oh, all right. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
Action shot.
Well, all right. Keep it cool.
Keep it down. I'm vodcasting.
Podcast.
Andy, you have headphones on. They
I know. No. Yeah. Well, there's a buzzard overhead right now.
He can hear you.
Yeah, the buzzard can hear me, and I don't like, they're showing up earlier in the day, It's like I used to think it was when I was just afternoon drinking. It was like, this is a coincidence. But it's like those cats in nursing homes. Sometimes they just know when someone's going to die.
They go there. What do you think, that the turkey vulture is going to swoop down and cuddle next to you for a while?
Oh, yeah, you don't know how you smell to your,
A fox doesn't smell its own hole.
It's like how poor people live in houses that stink, and they don't know their house stinks. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe the buzzard's got a hidden sense, like maybe they know my time is up, but now they're just hanging out all day and shit. I think I might start a garage band with them.
The buzzards are attracted to the smell of like methane or rotting flesh. And that's why they add the smell to natural gas. In Southern California, the guys that maintain the lines, when they drive out in the hills, they'll look for buzzards overhead because it might indicate a leak down below.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I got that going for me. Hey, if you want to come and stay out at the Airbnb, there's multiple ways to go.
Yeah.
Hanging, shooting. We got bows and arrows.
We can blow up.
Hey, you can slingshot poison into your kid's face.
An arrow, a water balloon arrow of poison, right now.
We got Kool-Aid and AIDS, Take your choice.
That's a longer package.
Not the way I give it to them. I waterboard them with it. Tell me who you work for. Are they hiring?
Oh, God damn.
Yeah, I got my letter from the president of the United States. I'd already gotten the money, but it was like, motherfucker, because my wife got that money, and we each got our half the stimulus. So I got myself a new Bluetooth speaker. But yeah, I didn't know I got my money until the president sent a letter saying it already was in my account and signed by Donald. And I was like, fuck yeah, I never got that from Obama. Obama promised to kill old people, and he didn't kill old people. Trump's doing it. Trump's doing it every day. Nursing homes are being emptied out. Breakfasts are being cleaned off the tray. The old people and their breakfasts are being dumped. Hey, these people are being loud in their yard work. I don't go over to where you're whatever.
Yeah, here we go. We just hit after party Andy. Ding!
I don't come fisting your porn thing.
They're not even social distancing at all.
Andy just had one of those things that pop out of a turkey.
A turkey buzzard?
Thermometer?
Snakes. There's snakes in that turkey buzzard. It's like, I was just going to get cinnamon scones. They put them on the day old early in the morning. So I'm like, and they're like, oh, get out of the way, turkey. And then I'm like, whoa, this guy's inhaling a bag of dicks. And then it's like, that's not a turkey at all. And here we go. Nature just sometimes, when you're a nature jacker, it just shows up and taunts you. But I'm like, that. No, sorry. That's like, not for me. You know, I prefer an ocean. I prefer an oceanscape than aggressive fucking. You know, it's like gag videos. I don't need that. You know.
Then maybe you should consider renaming it from nature jacking, because that's part of nature. You're just beautiful nature jacking. You're an elitist.
Well, remember, Andy started out by saying how unnatural this was.
Yeah.
That a turkey vulture was eating snakes. That is the life cycle of a snake is to be eaten by something.
I bet those snakes were like, what the fuck is that noise? Hey, is somebody giving off methane? Oh, no. Shit.
Who farted? Who farted? Ah!
You lit that methane lamp? You doomed us all. You doomed us all.
You don't know what you've done, Larry.
Separated. I'm sorry, we're all coiled up.
Wait, how did a snake flick a lighter?
I don't know, man.
Teamwork.
Yeah.
That's why they get into a ball like that.
Yeah. They're wrapped around a lighter.
Same way primitive humans hunted down a gazelle as a group. Patiently.
God damn it. I like that in the Keiko story, we actually learned a little bit of information about the Larry garage sale, choose your own adventure that we missed earlier.
Dragon's Lair.
Yeah, it had to do with Larry's necklace. Larry's necklace. That's what he wanted.
The point of my mom's argument is Larry worked hard to take that stuff. It's like, wait. So it's like that kind of comes back around. It's like my mom was saying it's okay to steal as long as it's heavy and you work hard at it. So I take that little bit of misinformation, that little grift in my soul, and go, whoa, I'm paying for 5 gallons of bark, and then the rest just follows that 5 gallons into the trash can. I think the key is to not show off all your garbage cans. If you stack them, and then it's like, a cup game. I never lie to them. I am getting 15 gallons worth of stuff. I say that right up front. I'm getting 15 gallons.
Yes. That's like telling someone you're 21 years old.
Yeah.
You are 21 years.
At least.
I'm at least 140 pounds.
And he's got all these fucking trash cans like Russian dolls all stacked up. Just one, it's a really weird can. It's really tall, but it's 15 gallons.
Well, I can only get 3 cans and 5 buckets. So the 3 buckets is 15 gallons. So yeah. I'm a little bit under. I'm an glasses half empty kind of loader. But then then they're like wave it in too. So it's like some loads are free, some are 8, and then this one guy charged me 20, and I was like, okay, this guy's scamming 10 off the top.
Did they check you on the way out?
Fuck no. These guys
clearly.
That's the flaw in the system.
Dumb question. Yeah.
These guys all smoke weed in a shack.
It must be a city yard.
Imagine that business model. Imagine any other store that you could, any retail store where you could just go in, tell them what you're going to get when you go in,
and leave out
pay
the back.
for that, and then just go, and then just leave with whatever else.
It's when I worked for the Key Club.
Ice. I don't believe in paying for ice, so sometimes I'll buy 1 bag and take 4. Sometimes I won't buy any and just take 2 or 3. I don't.
Maybe I'll come back with water later.
If they didn't want you to steal it, they wouldn't put it right next to the fucking exit.
Yeah, where the getaway car is.
Yeah.
I always buy 2 bags of ice and grab 7.
Yeah.
I water plants with it. You can't help myself.
Andy's mom's theory is it's not stealing if you put your back into it.
Yeah.
Look
at him sweat.
Here's where I think my mom should have followed up on it. Is I feel like it's not stealing. Like ice, it melts. It's water. If it's an element, it ain't stealing. So I take rock.
You can't steal wind.
Yeah, and if I gave them a bucket of stuff, they would mulch it and sell it back to me. I was like, at some point, when do I quit being the middleman?
Yeah, you're part of the solution.
Yeah. So now I'm El Chapo of the Bark game, you know.
El Barco.
El Barco.
El Barco. Things are shaping up around here, and
there it is.
I need to put together.
Andy, carbon is an element,
rock and dirt.
So you can really take anything that's carbon-based.
I just can't exude methane while doing it because that alerts the fucking buzzards that I'm almost done. I don't want to be Andy Dufresne 25 feet short of you with buzzards eating me. I'm giving off methane, you know? Yeah, buzzards are a real complication, you know. You don't it's like the javelina. It's
yeah, it's so close.
So close.
Fuck.
You guys smoke weed? You
God damn it.
You wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for weed, you know?
You know what I just noticed? Is that Andy has his headphones like over the flaps of his hat. He clearly can't hear any of us.
No.
I don't even know if they're plugged in.
I met Keiko back in his early days touring.
Andy's dorsal fin is also flopped over to one side.
It's healthy. It's healthy to
me,
look
Jimmy
all
Walker. It was me, Jimmy Walker, and Keiko on the same bill at Newport.
Oh man, he's looking horrible. Yeah, JJ Walker. No, Keiko.
Well, Keiko blew up with dynamite, actually. I didn't mean to combine them. I really didn't mean a pun. Was that a pun?
No, that's not a pun.
That's the end of the show. Are you kidding me? Drop the mic.
Dynamite. Yeah. Another 80s legend.
Oh my God, it seems like Andy does show prep, but there's no way. We all know his work ethic. It's crazy.
No, I've been taping shit down, and I got all my pipes clean last night. So yeah, basically, you're right.
He's got frogs all the time, Shaylee.
And I'm right too. Yeah, exactly.
And with that new Bluetooth speaker, I can listen to music right up till showtime. I'm barefoot, you know. I could. Well,
what are you listening to these days?
A lot of Todd Snyder.
Little Twiddle.
No, those guys went to this fucking Nugget. Nugget took over this free-flowing hippie vibe, and then Nugget wants money. And even if I wanted to give Nugget money, I'm all tied up, and my email's not getting accepted.
Hold on, Andy. What's
Nugget? It's a music streaming.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a different band. Like they took the crown.
Right. They took the term Nugget, which is like a little bit of weed that you smoke and share among people, and then they want to get money for it. But it's
like I want people who sell weed,
like I want the band to get money, but I don't know who Nugget is, and now Nugget won't accept my emails, even though I've given them 5 different emails. They're like, no, we don't recognize this as an email. It's like
I've run 5 separate scams on this company, and they won't respond.
Yeah, keep sending me free disc, and I'll keep taping a penny to an envelope and sending it in to you. I did not ask for Fleetwood Mac.
And it'd be cheaper if you converted that penny to paper to send it in.
Well, anyway, but yeah, that's it. I'm also listening to a lot of whale sounds.
That's not a nice thing to say about your neighbors.
Yeah.
No, they're fit.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the porn house neighbors?
Yeah.
Cinemax.
Him and his girlfriend both wear cardals.
What?
Cardals? I can't say it very loud, but you know, they both wear overalls and they're gardening and they both have hats. And he's a marathoner. And then she's a lawyer. She's hot, but she's bent over doing some weeding. And I'm like looking in, and it's like it was him. It was like I don't know if that's cabin fever, but I went out and bought a hat. I went out to a tool place and got a hatchet. Right over here.
Well, you bought a hatchet to make sure you weren't gay?
Well, I bought a hatchet. Oh no, I cut my. This was I had another run-in with that hawthorn tree. I was digging to plant something, and then I hit a root, and I was like took my split and maul to it, and then I found where the water, where the sprinklers are. I fucking busted that shit up, and then I'm going through my shit, and it's like I still have my same fucking bad plumbing stuff, and it's like you know, so yeah, I did some plumbing up there.
You broke a pipe, an irrigation line.
Yeah, it's all come together now, but it was like very disappointing. I kept going, motherfucker, I have whatever the acreage is. It was like a 0.17 of an acre, and I gotta fucking swing a shovel, you cunt. And then sometimes I realize it's like I'm up at 5 a.m. and probably other people don't, you know, I'm like a rooster yelling cunt. It's disappointed in the action.
You're doing yard work at dawn?
Yeah, so now I'm troubleshooting the sprinkler line.
Where's the hatchet, Andy?
Oh, it's right here.
No,
it's a good.
You were gonna say where did the hatchet come into?
I like to keep I might keep the cover on it until I use it. You know.
Wait a minute! You said you went to buy a hatchet, and Brett asked, "Why did you get a hatchet?" And then you started to tell a story that didn't have a hatchet in it.
Well, I got one anyway.
Asked and answered. Asked and answered. Very good.
You know, I could do a lot of shit with it, but that it all started because I had a split and maul and I hit that fucking line, and then I was like, I was thinking I'm gonna chop a hole in that tree and then blow it up or set it on fire, like Keiko.
A tribute.
Yeah, but I planted.
Maybe on the 4th of July you could do a Andy Andrus tribute to Keiko. Have some fireworks, blow up your tree.
A little bit of blood dripping and getting that hatchet and thinking it over, I went up and I dug some ferns out of the woods and I planted them around the stump. So I'm just I'm hiding the problem.
Is that hawthorn yours?
Yeah, you can have it if you.
No, I didn't know if it was on the neighbor's property or yours because you don't really see boundaries when it comes to landscaping.
No, I got a fence and everything changed around here because my neighbor extended the fence, so now the deer can't leap over here and eat shit. So I'm adding color. I'm like, you know, it's like if my brother Larry had fuchsias instead of pipes around here now, or, you know, like, and you know, like Larry stole shit, but he never did it to, like, you know, make his area better. I don't think.
He wasn't stealing with a plan, with a long-term goal. Yeah,
I'm basically like a Native. I'm like a Native American. I'm just taking all this stuff that should be free elements.
Wait, you use all parts of the robbery?
Oh, again, I pay for 15 gallons of stuff. If I end up with a little extra, I think it just beautifies my little corner and is a good advertisement for that place. I don't know. That's what the Indians thought. Not the old Indians, the new ones. The ones who think... I don't know about the Indians, but I sure do like getting a check from the government. I certainly know what to do with my government check. Just like the Indians, I got myself a tomahawk. And some weed.
Oh,
me smoke them weed and throw a tomahawk with government handouts and get some fire water, and some sound.
Did he say me smoke 'em weed?
I learned Indian from watching The Lone Ranger.
I thought you were going to say you learned it also from Looney Tunes, because that also sounded like it.
Tonto learned his craft from watching Looney Tunes.
And
Silverhill.
You need to drill a pipe into the handle of your fucking hatchet now, just so you have a smokable tomahawk.
Smokable tomahawk.
Well, I guess next week's taken care of, Project. I guess I'm back to the tool place again.
Looks like
that's a simple one.
Yeah. Really?
Harbor Freight.
You drill 2 holes.
Harbor Freight. Yeah, that's
Drill
I just discovered
drill
it.
a bowl into one of them.
Yeah. I was surprised to see shock pads there. Okay, count that as a pun. They did have shock pads. I got shock pads here for my dog to lay on. You know the shock pads?
Oh.
It's like
what are you talking about?
That's why I said, what is that?
I might have shut the whole thing down. That's
There he went.
right by my dog. Oh man.
Hey, there it is.
That's awesome. Aw.
Yeah.
Those are only like, I was like, it's like, I mean, I got stimulus dollars, so I'm buying stuff I didn't know I needed. Like, I got tarps.
Show me that pad again.
Yeah.
Is it the right name? It sounds. So right now you're shocking your dog.
Oh, you also? Sorry. I didn't know. I needed
the dog doesn't seem to like it.
Froze up. That's what I wanted to say. Who is it for? Because the dog is laying next to it.
I think you need to put batteries on it.
Well, here's also.
It's not shocking your dog.
Right before the podcast, we start this thing the hour before. If I get high on gummies, I can lay out here like a turd on that mat, and I get a little bit of sun on me, which I think Donald Trump suggested right after a Lysol bath is you lay in the sun a little bit.
Get some of that light on you, that good light.
Yeah. Well, he said you swallow light, and I was like, okay, that's that fucking, what's that drink? We had it in, it's supposed to be, it's supposed
Bud Light
to be hallucinogenic. No, it's a hallucinogenic.
Ayahuasca?
You drink it. And you no, not a.
Absinthe.
We had it in absinthe. Yeah, that's what I think Trump was thinking.
Absinthe.
It's like,
Absence.
Anyway, I should drink some of that because if you have a fucking. Well, that's why I quit drinking, That's abstinence, you fucking assholes.
I love that we're all getting tags in.
We're all tagging different jokes.
It's the rapid fire.
I'm still on the shock pad.
That's the future.
I still want to get back to shock pad. If it's called a shock pad, why is it not shocking your dog that's laying on it?
Absorb shock.
It's so you don't get shocked.
Right now, she's in awe of what I've done.
I thought you laid it on your couch so the animals stayed off the couch.
Oh, man, it's just like one of them finishing pieces. Like, I didn't know I needed a pink flamingo stand-up fucking thing.
No, Shaylee, it's not like an electric fence.
That's what I thought.
No.
A shock pad sounds
No, it's so that you don't get shocked. It's like
no, it's not, Erickson. It's a foam pad that absorbs shock. Like people who work at the checkout stand there all day. They stand on one of those.
Like an anti-fatigue pad.
I thought it was grounding.
I think when people see what I've done with this yard, they're gonna go, "Wow, this guy flamed out and painted weird shit and posted it in his yard."
I think people will say that.
Yeah, exactly. Verbatim. That would be on a T-shirt.
Something flamed out.
Click, click, pop.
In case of a rapture, you'll see this shirt. in case of a rapture, this shirt with the angry devil will just be here on this bench, all probably wadded up because it'd be hard to get it to just lay out nice in a rapture situation. That makes no sense. Like, wouldn't you just get raptured in your clothing? I think I got raped on that rapture T-shirt.
You're on your way to that Jehovah heaven, is why.
Yeah.
They
want you naked.
That's a good thing.
You've been groomed for the nature forever, Andy.
The service
no clothes.
starts. The service starts at 1:00 today, so I've got it's just perfect. I don't like it when I like to have it going when I'm done, so I can go unwind, jack off, and yell at the pets. You know what I do. You know, it's like it's a lot of pressure doing a podcast.
Yeah, I usually nap after we're done.
I'm going.
Yeah, I've been drinking myself into a nap. Yeah, got a blow, huh?
Yeah. Gross.
Yeah, it's a party drug, man, and you're in quarantine. You know what are you doing?
Jealous, Andy.
Ask Paulie. I know. No. Well, no, I'm it's like Stanhope's thing about why would you want to be any more alert? I'm doing cough syrups and Benadryl, like fucking candies.
Yeah.
It's really never too early to nap.
I feel you. All right, gentlemen.
I don't feel very good. I think I better take a
nap. Yeah, it's like dying a little bit. Taking a nap.
Just a little bit. I'm thinking about writing some new stuff.
Oh, fuck. All right, Shaylee, what day are we on the news blackout? I just saw I got sent one just not too long ago.
Oh yeah, I just went out. Day 24. We're gonna record later today. So
right on.
Wow.
It actually, like you think about it, is like there's one comic who died, and I bet Doug might know him, but that was right at the beginning, and then maybe Kim Jong. Shit, I can't think of his name. He was in New York. He's I didn't cross paths with him, but a lot of people I knew.
You talked about it on another podcast.
Yeah. No, there was a couple.
But
anyway, this was a guy who right before Doug, I think Doug might know him, and I talked to Doug and I was like, you don't want to know anything? And he goes, nope. So I didn't tell him. And then Kim Jong-un's hanging on the ropes, gosh,
the story.
Yeah. So it's like, but
all
all this other shit, it's just like, it's all just details.
The reason that Doug called you was because I said, hey, Doug, why don't you call Andy and do a podcast with Andy? And he goes, there's no fucking way. The minute I call Andy, he's going to start talking about the news. So I go, all right. And then Doug immediately went on the phone, called Andy, and he started telling him the news right away. And now you just said, yeah, I was trying to tell him about the comic who died.
Well, I'm just trying to get some votes for Bernie,
Your phone banking?
Oh, shit, that's right. Yeah, that's one of the... I've got a list of things that I've been keeping track of, and I like the idea of giving a multiple choice of did these things happen, and one more outrageous than the other because and those would be the true things, and so that there's that, and then
there's no two outrageous.
Not anymore.
No
the new
more.
normal. 2 days before or a day before, Doug's gonna give his he's gonna expand on what he thinks happened in the last 30 days.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right, excellent.
Somebody should say they died, somebody close to him or something died.
Andy, you got a chance to be famous.
There's still 6 days.
I said close to him. Hennigan or somebody.
Fuck.
Yeah, and I hope those people don't mind the weed smell over there, but
they don't.
Not from you.
What are they gonna do about it, man? It's
Hey,
Oregon.
Chad.
Yes, sir.
Shane Gillis is going to be here until the end of the 30 days thing, and he is a huge gamer. So I'm going to bring the PS4 up tonight to set it up in advance. But the next time you guys are on, I'm gonna try and get him to get on there with you guys and play.
Right on.
Yeah, he's either podcasting or playing some video game. He does historically relevant ones. So I don't know if that's, I don't even know what that is. That's like Age of Empires or something.
Right, you fist William Howard Taft.
Yes.
Oh,
Helen Wash.
I think we cover history in a way a meth smoking history teacher at a community college on borrowed time might cover.
I love how Andy's all Gary Owens. Yeah.
No.
This just in.
What's your frequency, Kenneth?
All right, you fucking assholes. Subscribe to Chad's Twitch channel. You get it free with your Amazon Prime membership. Just remember to re-up every month.
Thank you, sir.
You fucking betcha. And we'll see you.
Later, guys.
Later, guys.